I received a mysterious envelope. If I'd opened it sooner, everything might have been different. That thought haunts me now, weeks after it landed on my doorstep. Plain brown, no return address, just my name scrawled in sharp ink. I'm Alex, the guy who keeps life in order, calm under pressure, patient when it counts, always picking apart the details. Numbers are my game, crunching them, balancing them, turning chaos into clarity for clients who trust me to sort their finances. It sat on my desk for days, unopened, taunting me while I went through the motions, calls with investors, spreadsheets late into the night, coffee cold by morning. Lauren was out, always out lately, her schedule a tangle I hadn't bothered to unravel. She'd breeze in past dusk, work drinks, she'd say, or vanish midday with a vague catching up with someone. I'd nod, didn't push, figured it was her way, her spark keeping her alive. She's always been a whirlwind, drawing eyes, bending conversations, and I'd liked that about her once. 6 years in, though, that spark felt less like fire and more like smoke, hazy, slipping through my fingers. It started small, little shifts I brushed off as noise. Her phone used to lie open, screen up, buzzing with texts I'd glimpse, but now it was a vault, flipped down fast when I'd walk by. Client stuff, she'd mutter, tucking it close, her grin too tight. Her days got jagged, meetings at odd hours, lunches stretching past dark, excuses piling up like receipts I couldn't reconcile. Busy season, she'd toss out, flipping her hair, dodging my stare. I'd let it slide, didn't want to chase ghosts, but ghosts don't leave traces, and these did. A perfume I didn't buy lingering on her coat, a receipt for a wine bar I'd never been to tucked in her bag. I'm not the type to jump, years of parsing data taught me to wait, weigh, confirm, but the itch grew. She'd laugh louder on calls, stepping outside, voice low through the window, or come home distracted, eyes elsewhere, fingers restless. I'd ask casual, light, rough day? And she'd pivot, fast. Oh, same old chaos, she'd say, too smooth, too quick. I'd watch her, analytical, quiet, clocking the tells, the way she'd dodge, the way her phone stayed glued to her now, a lifeline I wasn't part of. Something was shifting, slipping, and I couldn't pin it down. Then that envelope broke it open Friday, late, after a marathon of client emails. I'd crashed on the couch, Lauren out again, grabbing a bite. She'd texted, and the packet sat there, staring back. Curiosity won. I tore it, expecting junk, bills, nothing. Inside, one photo, grainy, candid, Lauren at a cafe, leaning close to a guy I didn't know. Dark hair, sharp jaw, his hand brushing hers too close. My pulse kicked hard, sudden, like a ledger gone red. No note, no name, just that image, raw and real. I sat there, photo in hand, coffee cold, mind racing, piecing it. Who sent this? Why? Lauren waltzed in an hour later, keys jangling, humming, and froze when she saw me, envelope open. What's that? She asked, too bright, stepping quick to snag it. I held it up, slow, deliberate, watching her mask slip. You tell me, I said, voice low, suspicious edging in. She laughed sharp, forced, some prank, probably, and turned away, but her hand shook, just a flicker. That wasn't a prank, that was a crack, wide and jagged, and I wasn't letting it close. Someone knew, someone saw, and I'd find out who, and what, before she could talk her way out. That unmarked envelope, its photo of Lauren leaning close to some stranger, sat heavy in my hands long after she'd brushed it off with that shaky laugh. Some prank, she'd called it, turning away too fast, but her trembling fingers told me different. I couldn't unsee it, her head tilted, his hand grazing hers, a moment too raw to dismiss. I'd let her dodge me before, her late nights, her quick pivots, but this wasn't slipping past me now. Something was fraying, something I'd ignored too long, and that image was a thread I'd pull until it all unraveled. I'd always been patient, waiting for facts, sifting through noise, but patience was thinning, and suspicion was taking root. Lauren's always had a pull, magnetic, unpredictable, lighting up spaces with a flick of her smile. She thrives on eyes turning her way, craves the buzz of attention, and I'd thought I balanced that, gave her room to shine. But lately, that shine's been flickering elsewhere, somewhere I can't follow. She doesn't settle, she chases, always has, drawn to the rush, the edge, anything that shakes the steady rhythm I live by. I'd been her anchor, 6 years of it, but now I see it. She finds me too safe, too flat, a story she's read and shelved. That's why attention, risk, a game I didn't fit into. It wasn't one thing, it was a dozen, stacking up slow and quiet until they roared. Her phone used to be an open book, text blinking, calls I'd overhear, but now it's a fortress, screen black the second I'm near. Work junk, she'd mutter, tucking it into her pocket, her grin too tight to buy. Her days turned jagged, vanishing for lunch that stretched past dusk, popping up late with traffic or lost track of time. I'd catch her, door half open, laughing low into her phone, stepping outside when I'd linger too close. Just a friend, she'd say, flipping her hair, but friends don't call at midnight. Don't leave her humming tunes I don't know. Then there's Derek, her shadow, though I didn't have his name yet. She'd picked him up somewhere, swiping through a dating app, I'd guess, after spotting her thumb flicking too fast one night. He's a waiter, sharp, cocky, the kind who turns charm into currency, serving tables while dreaming bigger. Ambitious in his own head, self-absorbed, loud about it. And Lauren's marriage? A speed bump he'd smirk at. They'd clicked online, her spark, his swagger, and he didn't care whose life he nudged out of frame. She fed him what he wanted, attention, a thrill, while I was left piecing her absences. The clues kept piling, relentless, nagging, like loose ends I couldn't tie. A wine bar tab slipped from her purse, dated a night she'd claimed early bed. Too pricey for her usual haunts. A scarf I didn't buy, silk, bold, draped over a chair one morning, gone by noon like it had never been. I'd toss a question, new scarf? And she'd deflect, chuckling, borrowed it, silly, her voice too polished, too quick. I'd let it pass, didn't want to stir it, but it wouldn't let me go. She'd slip out, quick errand, and roll in late, her coat sharp with a scent I didn't own, her eyes darting past me like I was furniture. It sharpened a week after that envelope, a Tuesday, late, after wrestling numbers all day. I'd come home to her on the balcony, phone pressed to her ear, voice low, giggling soft. She didn't hear me, didn't see me standing in the doorway, until I cleared my throat. She spun, eyes wide, phone dropping fast. Oh, hey, didn't see you, and brushed past, too swift. Who was that? I asked, keeping it even, testing her. She grinned. Too big. Old co-worker, catching up, and darted inside, leaving me with her lie hanging thick. Co-worker, at 10 p.m.? She hadn't worked a desk in years. Her gigs were solo, freelance, her own pace. That wasn't chatter. It was a signal, loud and clear, and it flipped a switch. Derek, whoever he was, wasn't a glitch. He was a fixture, woven into her hours, her laughs, her steps away from me. I didn't call her out. Not yet. I don't leap blind. I sift, I stack, I wait until it's solid. But that photo, that call, they burned, flashing every time she tossed an excuse, every time she slipped her phone away. She thought I'd stay lost, thought her act would hold. She didn't see me turning it over, analytical, quiet, building the case. Derek was in this. Her risk, her rush, and I'd dig him up, root by root, until I had it all. The envelope wasn't a prank, it was a shove, and I was pushing back. That photo from the envelope, Lauren with some stranger, too close, too real, kept me up nights, spinning circles around her balcony giggle and that old co-worker dodge. Her lies were piling. Phone tucked tight, schedule a maze, every excuse sharper than the last. But that image was the clincher, a puzzle piece I couldn't ignore. I'd been sifting it, quiet, methodical, since it landed, suspicion gnawing deeper with every dodge she threw. Derek was out there, her shadow, her secret, and I wasn't guessing anymore. I needed the truth, raw, unfiltered, and that unmarked packet was my lead. I'd find who sent it, and why, because this wasn't slipping past me now. I don't chase hunches blind, never have. I'm wired to dig, parse the noise, find the signal. So I started with the envelope itself. No stamp, no postmark, just hand-delivered, dropped while I was out. That narrowed it. Someone local, someone watching. I turned it over, plain brown, cheap, no prints to lift, but the photo was crisp, pro-grade, not some phone snap. Whoever took it had skill, intent, a reason to shove it my way. Lauren's laugh, too loud, too quick, echoed in my head as I stared at it. Her leaning in, his hand brushing hers. A cafe I didn't recognize. This wasn't random, it was aimed, and I'd track it back. I started quiet, kept it off her radar. She'd been breezing out, grabbing drinks, or late meeting, leaving me space to work. First, I mapped the cafe, zoomed the photo, clocked the decor, sleek tables, a logo on a cup. Took an hour online, scrolling reviews, matching shots, until I pinned it. Upscale spot downtown, 20 minutes away. I'd never been. Lauren hadn't either. Not with me. But she'd been there with him. Next, the sender. I called my building's front desk. Casual, fishing. Any deliveries last week? Packages? No name? The clerk paused, shuffled papers. Then, yeah. Guy dropped something off. Didn't sign in. Quick drop. Mail? Vague. Useless. But it was a start. Days ticked. Lauren oblivious. Me digging. I cross-checked. Phone logs too risky. Her screen locked now. But I had that photo. That cafe. Took a drive, midweek, quiet. Parked across the street. Watched. Waiters buzzed, trays clinking, smiles flashing, but none matched him. Then I saw it. A board out front. Staff night. Thursdays. Thursday, that's when she'd vanish longest. Networking, she'd say. I waited. Next one rolled around. And went back. Blending in, corner table, I sharp. She wasn't there, not this time. But he was. Dark hair, sharp jaw, weaving through tables, tray in hand. Derek. I knew it. Gut deep. No doubt. I didn't stop. Needed the sender, the why. Took the envelope to a guy I know, old client. Runs a print shop, owed me a favor. Paper's generic, he said, squinting. But ink's high-end, pro printer, not home junk. Someone with access, someone deliberate. I pushed harder, called a courier friend, described it. Sounds like a drop I ran, he said. Slow, thinking. Guy paid cash, didn't talk, wanted it off books. Mail again tall, he guessed, no name. I pressed, where'd he send you? And he paused, then, picked it up near that cafe, same area. Too close, someone tied to Derek, to her, watching them play. It clicked late, Friday, her out again, girls' night. She texted, late. I sat. Photo beside me, note sprawled, and traced it. Cafe, staff night, Derek. The sender knew, saw them, snapped it, sent it my way. I dug online, forum posts, local chatter, until a name popped. Anonymous tip, waiter at upscale spot, cheating with a regular. No face, no proof, but it matched. I called my courier again, that guy, what did he say? And he dug deeper. He was mad, muttered about teaching them. A tipster, someone burned, someone close, and they'd pick me to finish it. Shock hit first, cold, heavy, like a ledger crashing. Lauren, my Lauren, with him, bold, careless, caught on film. Confusion swirled. Why me? Why now? Then cleared. Someone wanted me to know, wanted it stopped. Derek, waiter, smug, had her, and I'd been blind. It shifted, fast, anger bubbling, not loud, not wild, but tight, focused. I'd trusted her 6 years, and she'd tossed it for this? I didn't yell, didn't pace, just sat, staring, letting it settle. They thought I'd miss it, thought I'd stay tame. Wrong. Shock faded, drive kicked in. I'd unravel it all, every thread, until I had them cold. This wasn't over, it was mine to end. I had the truth now, Lauren and Derek, caught on that photo, confirmed by my own eyes at the cafe, and it wasn't a hunch anymore. It was a blade, sharp and cold. That anonymous tipster had handed me the proof, her with him, bold as daylight, and I wasn't sitting on it. Her lies, those girls' nights, that balcony laugh, burned in my head, but I kept it quiet, piecing it together until I could strike. Derek was real, waiter, smug, her secret, and she'd played me like I'd never catch on. I don't flinch, don't falter, but this demanded a move, and I'd make it count, my way, no hesitation. I tracked her, methodical, precise, after that cafe stakeout. She'd been slipping out, erratic, unpredictable, but patterns don't lie. Thursday nights were her longest, meeting a client, she'd text, late, and I'd clocked her at that upscale spot before. I waited, picked my shot. Thursday again, her out, me ready. I drove downtown, parked a block off, walked into that restaurant, sleek, dim, buzzing with suits and clinks of glass. She was there, corner table, wine in hand, alone, but not for long. I took a seat, far enough to watch, close enough to hear menu up, eyes locked. She didn't see me, didn't suspect, laughing soft into her phone, waiting. He showed Derek strutting in, tray swapped for a jacket, sliding into her booth like he owned it. My pulse kicked, steady, tight, watching them lean close, her grin wide, his hand brushing hers. Same pose, same vibe as that photo. I didn't rush, let them settle, let her sip her wine, let him smirk like he'd won. Then I moved, slow, deliberate, crossed the floor, stood over their table. She looked up, froze, glass halfway to her lips, eyes wide. "Alex," she said, voice high, breaking Derek shifting, sizing me up. "Funny meeting," I said, low, calm, dropping the photo, creased, worn, dead center between them. Her breath hitched, loud, sharp, hands fumbling as she snatched it. "What's this?" she snapped, too fast, too shrill. "Some joke." I didn't blink, didn't budge, just stared, letting it sink. "You tell me, Lauren," I said, voice flat, cutting. "Looks familiar." Derek leaned back, smirk fading, eyes narrowing, but she jumped, denial first, predictable. It's not what you think," she said, laughing forced, brittle, shoving the photo back. "He's just a friend, someone from God. Alex, you're paranoid." "Friend, right?" I nodded, slow, at Derek's hand still near hers. "Friend sit that close?" I asked, pinning her. She faltered, eyes darting, then flipped it, bold, reckless. "Fine," she said, leaning in, voice sharp, defiant. "Yeah, it's him. So what? You're too boring, too stuck. I needed something alive." Her grin twisted, smug, daring me, and I felt it, anger flaring, but I held it, cold, steady. Derek chuckled, low, smug, watching her like she'd scored. "She's got a point," he said, shrugging first words, cocky as I'd pictured. I turned, slow, met his stare. "And you're the thrill?" I said, dry, cutting him silent. Lauren's smirk wavered, uncertain now, but I wasn't done. The twist hit, mid-swing, unexpected. "What did he promise you?" I asked, voice dropping, probing. She blinked fast, caught off guard. "What?" she said, faltering, glancing at Derek. I pressed, relentless. "He's using you, come on, Lauren. What's his angle?" Her eyes flicked, panic flashing, Derek stiffening, smirk gone. He wanted my contacts, said I'd help him climb," she muttered, looking away, guilt spilling. "Climb, right? A waiter, clawing for her influence, not her. She'd been his ladder, nothing more, and she bought it." I stepped back, watching her crumble, him glare. "You're both pathetic," I said, calm, final, photo still there, glaring up. "You chased attention, got played. He chased status, picked the wrong mark." She grabbed my sleeve. "Alex, wait. I didn't mean," but I shook her off, voice ice. "You meant every second here, with him. We're done." Derek stood. "You don't know me," but I cut him sharp. "I know enough, enjoy the fall." I turned, walked, her voice trailing, "Please, let's talk." But I was out, door shutting her off, restaurant chatter fading behind. She denied, then bragged, then cracked, and that twist she thought I'd bend, thought I'd buy her game. Wrong. Derek thought he'd ride her coattails, misjudged me too. This wasn't the end, it was the spark, and I'd fan it, smart, quiet, until they'd both lose more than a night. I'd been confused, suspicious, now I was sure, and they'd feel it, step by calculated step. I walked out of that restaurant, Lauren's pleas fading behind me, Derek's glare burning holes, and knew it wasn't enough. That photo, her bold, so what, his smug, she's got a point, they'd lit a fuse I wasn't snuffing out. She'd thrown 6 years away for attention, let him use her to claw up from his waiter gig, and they'd both laughed it off like I'd roll over. I'd been patient, pieced it quiet, but now I was done waiting. They'd misjudge me, thought I'd fade, and I'd make them pay, not with noise, but with moves they'd never see coming. My mind was set calm, clear, ready to turn their game into ashes. Lauren lived for the shine, money, status, the buzz of eyes on her, and I'd been her springboard, bankrolling her whims while she chased thrills. She'd pegged me predictable, too steady, and I'd let her lean on that, trusting her with accounts, our home, my name. Big mistake, hers, not mine. I'd caught her greed in that restaurant, her flaunting Derek like a prize, and I'd use it, flip it, leave her with nothing. Next day, I moved, called my lawyer, an old friend sharp with loopholes. "She's got no claim, house is mine, premarital," he said, flipping files. "Joint accounts? We'll fix that." By noon, her cards, tied to my funds, were frozen, every penny she'd tapped cut off cold. She noticed fast, phone lit up within hours, her texts frantic. "Alex, cards aren't working. What's this?" I let them stack, ignored her calls, her "call me now, please," watching her flail from a distance. The house was next, mine alone, bought before her, title clean. I'd kept it separate, instinct, maybe, and now it paid off. Locksmith rolled in, afternoon job, new keys jingling, her old set useless. Her stuff, clothes, jewelry, that clutter she'd flaunted, went into boxes, dumped by the garage, pick it up, 24 hours. She'd lose her perch roof, walls, status, and I'd barely lifted a finger. But I wasn't stopping. Derek was in this too. He'd strutted into my life, cocky, thinking he'd climb on her back, and I'd bury that grin. I'd seen him, waiter, tray slinger, peddling charm at that upscale spot, and his rep was his lifeline, his ticket to bigger things. I had the photo, grainy, damning, and it wasn't staying private. Took a night, quiet, deliberate, cropped it tight, her face blurred, his clear. Send it, anonymous, to a local foodie blog, big following, sharp teeth, waiter's side hustle, married regular. No names, just enough. By morning, it was live, comments sparking. That's him, sleazy guy from downtown. His shifts cut, regulars bailing, his name mud. She crumbled quicker than I'd bet. Cards dead, keys void, boxes soggy by dusk. She'd lost it all. House she'd nested in, cash she'd flashed, influence she'd wielded. No more cushy fallback. Her crowd scattered when the tab stopped flowing. She showed up, next night, pounding my door, hair wild, voice shrill. Alex, open up. I've got nothing. She yelled, fist on glass. I stood inside, dark, still, watching her unravel. You did this, I said, low, through the pain. Deal with it. She sank, sobbing. I'm sorry, please, I'll fix it. But it was wind, hollow, late. I turned, left her there, boxes unclaimed, her panic her own. Derek fell too, harder than he'd braced. Blog posts spread, his gig tanked, tips dried, whispers followed. I heard it, client at my office, casual, that waiter guy's done. Nobody books him. His rep, his ladder shattered, all because he'd picked the wrong rung. I'd hit them both, her greed, his pride, with moves they couldn't dodge. She'd chased risk, lost her foundation. He'd chased her, lost his shot. She tried again, day later, voicemail, Alex, I messed up, just talk. But I deleted it, unmoved. Panic didn't sway me, her excuses didn't land. I'd turned it, her own game, against her. That lawyer's trick, fake scheme, was gold. I'd floated a joint investment, weeks back, let her sign, then pulled it, legal, tight, leaving her with zero claim. She'd bitten, greedy, blind, and now she had nothing. No home, no funds, no pull. Derek's exposure, public, swift, finished him. No status, no hustle, just a guy with a tray and a bad name. They'd thought I'd buckle, thought I'd let it slide. Wrong call. I'd flipped their world, calm and clean, and watched it crash. She begged more. I saw it coming, but I was past her, past him, ready for what they'd never touch again. I dismantled Lauren's life, cards cut, locks changed, her status shredded, and left Derek's waiter gig in tatters with that blog drop. 6 months had rolled by since I'd walked out of that restaurant, since I'd turned her curbside sobs into silence. I'd moved on, kept my days tight, my focus sharp, no trace of their mesh dragging me back. That lawyer's loophole, trapping her with a fake scheme, had sealed it, and I hadn't looked over my shoulder since. She crashed, lost it all, and I'd built forward, cleaner, sure. But I knew she'd surface, desperate, clawing, and she did, right on a gray street corner, half a year later, catching me mid-stride. I was heading home, briefcase swinging, air biting cold, when she stepped out from a shop awning. No warning, just there, a shadow of herself. Her coat hung thin, worn, patched, hair dull, eyes sunken, nothing like the flash she used to wield. Alex, she said, voice small, afraid, like she'd practiced it too long. Can we just talk? I stopped, feet planted, taking her in, worn down, a flicker of the woman who'd smirked at me across that table. You've got a minute, I said, flat, offering nothing, letting the wind carry the rest. She stumbled and words rushed, hands twisting. I know I ruined everything. I'm sorry, Alex, so sorry. I've got nothing now, no place, no one. Her eyes flicked up, pleading, damp, voice breaking as she went. It was stupid, Derek, all of it. I was chasing something dumb, and I lost you. Please, give me a chance, I'll fix it. She looked hollow, shoulders slumped, fingers fidgeting, a wreck who'd burned her bridges dry. I stood still, unmoved, letting her spill, letting it pile up and fall short. She'd lost the house, the cash, the pull, everything I'd cut away, and now she was scraping for a lifeline I wouldn't throw. I didn't shift, just watched, feeling nothing spark. Sorry doesn't rebuild 6 years, I said, voice steady, slicing through her ramble. You picked that game, don't cry when it folds. She flinched, sharp, like I'd snapped a line and tried to push. I know, I was wrong. Every day I see it. Just help me. I can't keep going like this. Help her? After she tossed me for a waiter's grin? I leaned in it slight, firm. You built that hole, dug it deep. Stay in it. Her face twisted, panic flaring, tears spilling now, but I held firm. She grabbed my arm. Weak, trembling, please. Alex, I'll change, I swear it. But I stepped back, voice cold. You changed when you let him in. That's on you. She tried one last play soft, broken. We were good once. Doesn't that count? Good, once, but not now. Counted enough for me to trust you, I said, turning away. You spin it, done. Then the twist, I couldn't hold it. Met the guy who sent that envelope, old client. Saw you too. He's why I'm free, gave me a heads up and a new start. Her jaw dropped, eyes wide, stunned, like air punched out. Who? She whispered, voice cracking, hands limp. Doesn't matter, I said, stepping off. He saw you, knew I deserved better. Turns out, he was right. I walked, left her there, rooted, staring after me, gray street swallowing her silhouette. She'd come worn, begging, hollow, and I'd sent her off with less than she'd grabbed for. My comma wall she couldn't breach. Satisfaction settled, quiet, sure, not joy, just balance. She didn't move me, hadn't for months, indifference my shield, justice my ground. That tipster, an ex-client, burned by Derek's charm, had mailed me the truth, sparked this shift, and I owed him more than her. Life's clear now, no fog, no weight holding me down. Work steady, clients piling in, days full, and I'm sharper, cleaner than before. She cracked something, trust, blind spots, but I didn't let it sink me. I see people now, really see past the masks, into the moves. That client, Tom, gruff guy I'd advised years back, caught them, tipped me, even threw me a lead that's paying off. Lauren's out there, adrift, probably Derek too, a name nobody books. They bet I'd break, thought I'd carry their load. Wrong. I shed it, built stronger, and I'm standing tall. Here's the takeaway. Instincts don't lie, and signs don't fade. She ignored them, chased risk, paid full. I didn't, listened, acted, and I'm free. Trust that gut. Don't blink at the red flags, or you'll miss the exit. I didn't, and that's why I'm here, not there.